What is going on, YouTube? So I wanted to come back with my Broncos Patriots preview, get a little bit into the NFL before the season is over. So obviously this is the AFC Championship game, and while most of my videos this year have been on college football, I've done a little bit on the NFL, but I have been watching the NFL all year, so don't think that I'm just jumping into it now. So I'm going to do the same way as I do my college football predictions, where I give 3 keys for each team and then give my actual prediction. So just to recover, just recall the history for the past for both teams. Peyton Manning is 2-0 against Tom Brady their last 2 AFC Championship meetings. Neither quarterback has won on the road against the other in the playoffs since, I believe, 2007. And Peyton Manning is overall 2-1 against Tom Brady in AFC Championship games. It's actually he's 2-0 at home. So obviously the Broncos do have home field advantage throughout the playoffs for the AFC, so they do have the game at home. And while both teams do have the same record, the Patriots did beat the Broncos earlier this year, 30-24 in overtime. So I think the first game actually gives some really good insight into what will happen this game, or at least some keys to focus on. So let's go ahead and jump into the 3 keys for the Patriots. First one is the easiest, I think, for the Patriots, and that's less than 3 turnovers. So obviously this is a very good Broncos defense. This is one that can force a lot of turnovers. And I don't think it's going to be a problem, especially since the ball's probably going to stay in Tom Brady's hands the entire game. I don't think they're going to run the ball a whole lot. Then I don't think it's going to be a huge problem, but receivers got to make sure they step up too. Again, I don't think it's going to be a problem for Gronk, Danny Amendola, any of them. But at the same time, you could also see Danny Amendola. I don't know, it feels like it to me, where you could have a pretty turnover-prone game. So my second key for the Patriots is for Logan Ryan to step up again as good as he did in the first meeting. So if you guys don't know, Logan Ryan, along with Malcolm Butler, are the top 2 cornerbacks for the Patriots. And Logan Ryan stepped up huge in the first game against the Denver Broncos, holding Demaryius Thomas to only 1 catch for 36 yards. So Demaryius Thomas wasn't huge in this past game either, against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I believe 4 catches for 40 yards, and the Steelers' secondary isn't that impressive. I think that if Logan Ryan can step up again, that eliminates the Broncos' biggest threat. Obviously, Emmanuel Sanders had a pretty good first game, but I think that if you're able to hold Emmanuel Sanders, I guess this is an entirely separate key, and Demaryius Thomas to less than 150 yards like they did the first game, then you give yourself a great chance to win. So my third key, maybe the hardest, is be prepared for Peyton Manning as well as you were for Brock Osweiler. So Brock Osweiler didn't have a great game in the first one. They completed 28 of 42 passes, 1 interception, 1 touchdown. Kind of an inconsistent game like it was for most of the season with Brock Osweiler. Had a pretty good season overall, but was inconsistent throughout, mainly through the Steelers game. I think that was the pinnacle of his inconsistencies. Not this past one, obviously, but the one during the regular season. So Peyton Manning was kind of a train wreck statistically this year. I believe he threw for 12 touchdowns and 17 interceptions throughout the regular season. But it's Peyton Manning, so while he doesn't have that much arm strength left, it's Peyton Manning. You got to prepare for him. And this is a Broncos team now that is extremely talented all over the field. This is a Broncos team that probably has the best defense supporting Peyton Manning that he might have ever had. I think that Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware are an extremely lethal pass rushing combo, and Denver's probably going to be extremely aggressive. Obviously, that's one thing you got to prepare for, but that's on the opposite side of the ball. The Patriots defense has been something that's been up and down this year, as highlighted by the Chiefs game. The Chiefs game was close, I think a little closer than New England would have liked it to be, but the Chiefs were also one of the hottest teams in the NFL coming into that game. I leave this game into the hands of Gronk, Tom Brady, Logan Ryan, and whatever receiver is the next biggest step up for Patriots. Now that sounds like a couple obvious keys there, but I think it's one that you got to pay attention to a little bit more than a lot of people would like to. So moving to my 3 keys for the Broncos. The first one is C.J. Anderson and Ronnie Hillman rush for over 150 yards combined. So honestly, they've been a pretty good rushing combo this year. Neither one has really stepped up and taken the reins. Ronnie Hillman, I believe, is the overall rushing leader with about 650 yards total on the year. So C.J. Anderson had a really big game, actually, when they played the Patriots the first time around. I believe it was 113 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, if they can repeat that, like I said earlier, I don't think the Patriots are going to run the ball that much. It's a good Broncos run defense, very aggressive one at that. Got good linebackers. I think that if you can get, especially 200 yards, I think that would really, I wouldn't say secure the game, but go a long way to doing so. If you're able to do that with how good the Broncos defense is, and you're able to control the clock against a team that will be a little bit pass heavy, then it's going to take you a long way towards winning this game. Second one, and this is a big one for me, is less drops. Denver, I believe, set a single game playoff record. It might have been a Denver record, but anyway, it was a lot of drops. It was 6 drops they had today. If you can limit that amount of drops, obviously that'll go a long way to winning. And this is supposed to be a very talented Denver wide receiving crew, led by, obviously, Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas. But there's got to be less drops. This is not the same Peyton Manning that there was even 2 years ago. So you got to help him out as much as possible. And I'm not saying I'm making Peyton Manning sound like some old man here, but you know it is true. It's not the same Peyton Manning that was here 5, 4, like 3, even 2 years ago. So leads me to my final key, and that is hold Tom Brady under 300 yards. So it just kind of feels like a game where Tom Brady's going to throw for over 300 yards. I've been mentioning this over and over again that Tom Brady will probably have the ball for the entire game. I'd say at least 40 pass attempts, depending on how efficient he is. So, like I said, this is a Broncos defense that is very good, but I think stems from the linebackers and safeties out. I think it'll be interesting to see how Chris Harris and Aqib Talib play this game. I think that they will have a very, I think that they will go a very long way to deciding this game. I'm not entirely sure what the matchups are going to be exactly. I'm assuming they're going to put a corner on Rob Gronkowski. I'd say the next prime target is Brandon LaFell. Keyshawn Martin gets a little bit of looks too. This is not a very deep wide receiving crew for New England. Also one with Danny Amendola back, so I'm assuming that's who it will be. So, like I said, we'll see. I think this is a game that where a lot of Broncos players who aren't very accustomed to stepping up will have to. A few names that come to mind: Derek Wolfe, if he can get a sack or two. Again, this is just going a long way towards having more low-key players step up. Also kind of feeling a big game from Danny Trevathan. Again, this is a very deep Broncos linebacking core. I think one that can have a very, very big effect on the game. So, I have mentioned my keys for both teams. Either way, I see this being an extremely close game. I don't see Brady Manning games really ever being blowouts. So moving to my prediction, it's not going to be a popular one, but I'm going to go with the history here and just going to kind of go with my gut, regardless if this is a biased prediction or not. I'm going to say the Broncos 28-27. I know that the Patriots are favored by 3 points here, 2.5 depending on the sportsbook you look at. Either way, pretty much same thing. I think that it's the Patriots' game to lose. I'll definitely say that. But history goes with the Broncos here. Like I said, Peyton Manning's 2-0 at home in AFC Championship games against the Patriots. So, again, I think this will be a great game to watch. I'm not one to miss a Brady Manning game ever. If you guys know me, watch my videos, then you might. I'm a huge Colts fan, so again, not going against the Patriots here. I respect them tremendously. But if I'm being honest, I kind of want to see a new team in the Super Bowl. Like, as a sports fan, I just like seeing a little bit of variation. I also think like a Broncos-Panthers Super Bowl would be pretty entertaining. So that is my prediction. I'm going to come back in a little bit and do my NFC version of this. And like I said, this is something that obviously I haven't done too much of this year. I've barely done any NFL. It's mainly been college football. That's mainly what my channel is surrounded with video-wise. So, comment if you think there's something that you would like to see me do separate in the format. Change it up a little bit. Again, this is something I'm doing for the first time, so if you want to see something improved, anything, put it in the description below. I always love hearing people's comments, bad or good. I try to reply to most of them. So yeah, like I said, that's pretty much it. Extremely interested to see the games next weekend. Yeah, see ya. On YouTube, so I wanted to piggyback off my NFL mock draft video, as I said I would do, and come up with basically my big board, my NFL draft rankings. And I'm going to start position by position, and then I'm going to move into just the overall big board, probably the top 100, maybe 200 rankings.